Hello everyone. So I'm here again with another Friday reads. I have read quite a bit this week, so let's just get into it. The first book I finished is How to Get Free by Keeanga-Yamahtta Taylor, and this one is about the intersectionality of feminism and Black experience. And yeah, I talked about it a lot more in my vlog, the 24-hour and 48-hour vlog that I did last weekend. But it's basically talking about how the relation between feminism and Blackness is different, like how that relation changes the ideas in feminism for Black women, and how having these two struggles affects them, and what are their ideas to change things, and what movements they have started. And it talks also about the Black Lives Matter movement. The next one I read, I really loved, is Superior by Angelo Saini. And this book is basically telling you that race is a social construct. There is no biological proof that race is a thing, and why the white supremacists wanted this social construct in place, and how they benefit from it, and why they are so attached to it. And also it talks about how even the most thorough scientists, they still think it might be a thing, and they continue to investigate, even though there has been so many research already that tells you that race is not a thing, and they still keep trying to find that it is, because it's so ingrained. So it also tells to check your biases. But yeah, I also talked a lot more about this in my vlog. Then the next one I finished is The Yellow House by Sarah Broom, and this one is Sarah Broom lived in and grew up in New Orleans, and the Yellow House refers to this house that her mom bought at some point, and where they all lived. So it tells the story of her family, starting from her grandmother, and of course those are smaller chapters because she cannot find so much information about it as her own life. And then she talks also a lot about her mom and her, I think they were 12 children, and how they grew up there. And also a big part of the book is not only Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans and how it affected Black people much more, but also how it was a long time coming because there were other disasters similar in New Orleans, and they all knew that nothing had been done. So when Katrina happened, it was a long time coming. And it also talks a lot about the consequences years after of the Katrina and how it changed New Orleans. It doesn't talk so much about the actual moment when it happened and when the houses were destroyed, but it talks about, well, years after, when these houses were still not fixed, and how it affected especially Black people, how much it impoverished them. So yeah, that was a very interesting book as well. I really liked it. Then I read White Rage by Carol Anderson, and this one was also fascinating. So this one is a non-fiction that tells the history of Black people in America from where slavery ended until now. So it tells basically the steps that Black people tried to make to improve their lives, and how every time they did that, white people will not accept it and will backlash into something really terrible, basically. So for me, it felt like white people were trying just to keep slavery with different names over and over again, and they kept changing the names, but the idea was the same. And I had no idea that these things were a thing, like the war on drugs, how it affected black people, and how the school system was completely messed up, and how every time that the black people managed to improve the schools in their areas, white people will come up with a new solution to boycott that, basically. Yeah, I mean, I think that book gave me a lot more understanding of why these protests are happening and why they are in the place they are, because I think that a lot of white people in America still think the same, still in the slavery mindset of, like they changed the name of the thing. It's not called slavery anymore, but that's, if they could, they would totally go back to that, and that's terrible. I mean, like, people are just people. But yeah, anyway, it was a very good book, and I read this as part of the read along that Books with Shares is doing for White Rage and White Fragility. I haven't read White Fragility yet, but that's the plan for this week, this coming week. So yeah, I really like that book, and I really recommend. It's very confronting, but it is very good, and I think it's something that everybody should know. So yeah. And then the last book I finished was a Book to Prize book, so I cannot talk about that one. But let's just say I'm glad it's finished. So now the ones that I'm in process, of course, Les Miserables and Flights. Those are going to be there for a while. Then something that I finished, I started last weekend, and I haven't read much of because I was taken over by some other things. It's The Old Drift by Namwali Serpell. So I'm just like 20 something pages into this. And this is a family saga about the foundations of Zambia. And this one is actually a bit on hold because I like to get deep dive into family sagas, and I wanted to finish this before Caribathon, but I didn't manage because of that Book to Prize book. So I think I'm going to have it on hold until I finish my Caribathon books, and then I can pick that back up. And the other one I'm reading, it's for Caribathon, and I started last night, and that's Augustown by Kei Miller, and I'm loving this. This is about this place in Jamaica called Augustown, which is actually a real place. It's not written all together, it's Augustown instead of Augustown, but it's the same. And it's based in real events that happened there. So it's about the tensions between black and white people that are happening in that place in Jamaica. So there was this priest called, I think it's Bedouin, Alexander Bedouin, and he was trying to preach basically to black people, like, you know, you have rights as well, and the white people do not like it, so they're trying to at the point that where I am in the book, they're trying to figure out what to do about it. But it is very interesting because it also it doesn't only investigate the dynamics between black and white, but there's also a lot of mixed race people and how they are perceived in the different places, and how much white you have to be in your mix to be considered like superior, and how maybe money also plays a role in that, and there are very fascinating dynamics on that. and it's also beautifully written. I'm really liking how it's written, and it has some very powerful cute quotes. So yeah, I'm really liking this. I'm hoping to finish it today. We'll see if that happens. I'm a bit less than halfway through, but yeah, I'm really excited about that one, and that was a very strong start to my Caribathon. And on that note, I have the other books that I'm planning to read next week are also Caribathon related. So I have A House for Mr Biswas by V.S. Naipaul, and this one is, as far as I know, it's the experience of Trinidad and Tobago. Then I have House of Ashes by Monique Roffey, and this one is a political fantasy sort of set in the Caribbean, in an unnamed or like a fantastical Caribbean island. So this is very interesting. And then I have Golden Child by Claire Adams, and I think this one deals a lot with identity. So yeah, and this one is also from Trinidad. And then I have Small Island by Andrea Levy in my e-reader, and that one is about Jamaican immigrants to the UK. And then I have a lot of Caribbean books that I want to read, but I'm not sure I will be able to in the time that I have. Yeah, I do these things sometimes that I'm not normally subscribed to Scribd because I don't have the money right now, but every once in a while I take 1 month and I subscribe, and then I try to read everything in Scribd, and that sometimes backfires because there are too many books I'm interested in there. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, as I said, White Fragility is also something that I'm going through to read next week for the read along. I'm looking forward to that as well, because from what I've heard, it tends to break the assumptions of white people, and it's very confronting, and I'm ready for that. So yeah, that was all I'm reading. I hope you like this video. Let me know what you're going to read this week, what you read last week, and if you have read any of these books and you like them, I would love to know. So yeah.